Eigentlich nicht.
Ja. Okay, das Pong spielen kurz.
Das
Die sind in der Keep
Buddies.
Clear Area.
Tja,
Okay.
entweder die sind da oder ich spiele nicht.
Na, ist sowieso egal. Die triggern die Gates nicht. Es geht ja nur darum, dass andere Spieler nicht in die Gates reinlaufen. Oh.
No!
Ey, das ist aber schön. Das war direkt mittig. Alle Pixel sind da. Von dem... Wie schießt man?
Ah. Hey, wenigstens habe ich nicht mit der Nuke geschossen.
Ja, wenigstens mit dir spielen. So, let's go. Melvin! Okay. Deine Arme sind schon.
Die haben doch Krankenschwestern.
Ja, stimmt, haben sie.
Ah!
Oh! Ah! Ja, okay. Na, wenigstens sind wir gleichzeitig schon. Kannst du hier niemanden resetten. Ah! Shit. Irgendwie bin ich plötzlich nicht mehr gut, wenn du dabei bist.
Ja.
Schau da, so funktioniert's. Ja, okay, manchmal kommt auch
Oha.
sowas. Ah, jetzt, da, Pre-Plan Section. Ha. Kommt einmal so
Oh
eine
ja,
Welle.
oh ja.
Mhm.
Oh nice.
Oh, bin ich zu weit. So, vor allem bei dem ersten Teil ist ganz cool, wenn man in der Mitte steht, weil da geht's recht einfach. Was kommt dann? Ich hab's vergessen. Ah ja, das hier.
Oh mein Gott.
Ja, ich hab verloren, okay. So yeah, hello. This is my game console. Yeah, I've just finished it like a week ago, but it's been a project for the last half a year, something like that. And yeah, it took a while, and I took a few breaks, and yeah, everything, this and that, but when the recent Friday facts for the DLC dropped, and then they announced the release date, and I know there will be like this new combinator, the new decider at least, which really sounds, I'm really hyped for the new decider combinator. And then there's also the selector and selector combinator, is it the one? I don't know. Which, to be fair, I don't really get. I don't really get what it does, but I guess I'll have to figure out when it releases. But yeah, so I thought I need to finish it before the real DLC drops. So here we go. Kind of rushed in the end, but it's finished. Hey, and way ahead of the expansion. So I guess I beat them to it. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. So I'll just explain how it works briefly and maybe go a little bit in depth about. There are some things I want to talk about, like the screen. I don't know if it's like a unique design or whatever, but I mainly want to talk about the difference between this screen, which I have another video about, and this screen, and the reason why I ditched this idea and switched over to here. I might talk about the games itself, they're up here, but to be fair, I don't remember it all that good anymore, because especially Pong and Snake, I built them like months ago. So yeah, let's start by the selection screen down here. So this is the selection screen, and yeah, here you see the signals that will be sent out from here. So if it's Pong, it's 2 players and P for Pong. T-Rex, 1 player, T for T-Rex. 1 player Snake, 2 player Dodge. So it is hard-coded kind of into this selection screen, whether or not it's 2 or 1 players. So yeah, I'll come to that later, but it is hard-coded. I might want to change it, but not in this version. I'll wait till the new combinators drop, because I think they might make my life a hell of a lot easier. So yeah. So yeah, here we go. That's it basically. How to set it up, I'll show you later, because the colors don't just appear when you blueprint it down. This selection screen, what was originally part of this thing, was down here, and there used to be a 3rd player, but yeah, you can watch the other video on this project. Yeah, right. So let's move on. I have those active provider chests, so if I push a button, put an item in here, it will get taken out immediately. That's why I have those here, and I mean, they're not really necessary as long as you have enough logistic bots nearby, but I just put them here for convenience, I guess. So like, yeah, you can activate, deactivate it. You've seen it in the video, and if the player is trapped, like if it's a single player game, Snake, and the player is trapped in here, it sends us B for bottom. So that means the bottom player is ready to play. I don't think I actually use this signal up there, but I use it down here to activate those lamps and actually making it able to start the game, because like this it doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. So I have to like trap the player, and then I can start the game. And when it starts, you see B is for ready, and the check mark is game started. It's the same thing here, left and right, and just copied over basically. One thing for later though, same thing as here, 1 player is just fixed, cannot change it. 2 players is fixed, hard-coded. Same thing with this here. If I have 1 player in here ready, I can't start the game. So even if I wanted to have a game which was able to play 1 or 2 players, it doesn't work. I have to have both players ready. Of course, you can just leave 1 empty like this and go into the other side and start the game, just like this. Which is kind of the workaround I used for this game, because in this game it might actually be preferable to play it single player once, as to not trap your body in there forever while you're trying. So yeah, that's the reason why he can die and the game doesn't reset. But if he dies, I was not able to let the 1 gate open, because as soon as 1 gate opens, the whole thing resets and shuts down. So yeah, that's also hard-coded into this bottom part, so I couldn't change it up here. Alright, so let's talk about the screen. Actually, let's talk about the other screen first. So this screen, yeah, it has the same, so like, it has just columns of wires, and the wires just, they don't intersect each other, as you can see. It just highlights the column. And the rows are always the same symbol, because the problem is, it's 18, wait no, 16, 32, 34 pixels tall and wide. So I don't have enough signals to give each pixel a separate signal. So I had to have pixels with with the same signals. So that's why I just chose to have rows with the same signal and then separate them like with a different wire each. That's also why I had to have this up here, as you can see in the other video, and that led to some minor headaches in Pong, but real headaches when I tried doing Tetris with it. So that's why I did this version when I tried programming Tetris. The other game, however, it still uses the rows and columns with the wires. They don't intersect each other, but each pixel has a different signal type that's connected to it. And that's also why I chose to size down the screen, like by 4 times actually. Yeah, it's just 1/4 of the size. And now I only have 16 by 16 pixels, which is 256, and that's 4 short or 3 short of the total amount of signals I have available. So I think, yeah, the only signals I didn't use was the reset, like repair pack, but I use it as a universal reset signal, and dot and check mark. So that's the only types that I didn't use in the screen. Every other, even the colors I used. And that did lead to some problems, because the bottom row here, as you can see, has all the colors in it. And that means I cannot really show colors here. So I just disabled colors, as you can see, for the whole ring around. This part here, the middle column here, is I think decoding? You might call it decoding, I guess. So yeah, this one sends out each signal once. So if I want to have this pixel lighted up, or like the very first one top here, is the wooden box. So this would need to send out the wooden box 1. And to do that, it needs to receive any signal with the value 1. So I have each pixel, like each pixel has a separate number. I just counted through them. So it's 1 through 16, 16 first row, 17 through 32 second row, and so on till 256. That's, as far as I'm concerned, probably the best way for my purposes to get a screen to work, basically. But yeah, that means if I have, especially I did this with Pong in mind. I didn't really know which other games I wanted to have on here, but when I thought about Pong, I just have the single pixel, the ball, which needs to bounce around. So I can just add 1 or subtract 1 to move it left and right, or add 16, subtract 16 to move it up and down, which is really simple and really all I need. So that was good. It does have some other problems though. We'll come to that when we talk about T-Rex, but it is pretty good working, and it probably could have done Tetris with this system too, but I was kind of didn't really want to touch Tetris again, so yeah. Well. Now I forgot. Yeah. I do think though I have a solution to combine the bigger screen size with this version, with this kind of decoding. But yeah, maybe I'll just do a third version then and implement it there. But yeah, that's how the screen works basically. I just have like, yeah, in here I have like different kinds of signals, as you can see, and each signal is a different pixel. So if I add 1, this pixel will move one to the right. And this signal, because it's a different type than the wooden boxes, like the iron box, is they can be the same number, they can be different, it doesn't matter. As long as one signal is of this value, there will be send out only one. So I can just like have for each pixel a different signal, which was kind of good for me. Especially when talking about Pong and Snake and Dodge. As I said, T-Rex kind of had to work a little bit different, but yeah, we'll come to that. And colors work actually by I send in a -1 signal of each color into each column. So to activate, so to give a pixel a certain color, I have to send in a value of 2 of that color to get it above 0. And that works by here. So I send in colors here, and I specify which row I want to have, in which row is the colored pixel. It's like if it's the first row, or the second row, first doesn't have colors, if the second row contains the pixel that I want to have colored, it's this one that will send the color out. And then I need to specify the column in which the pixel sits, and that's all the way at the top here. So the intersecting point gets a signal of 1 from the row and a signal of 1 from the column, and the intersecting one gets a value of 2. So that's how I overpower those, or one of those, and I can light up a single pixel. Well, okay, here's different because I just send in a signal of 2 from the top into every column, so that's why the whole thing is blue. But if I do it the other way, I can't have more than 1 pixel colored, usually, in most cases. So if I have this pixel blue and this pixel blue, this row will have 1, this row will have 1, like a signal blue of 1 and 1. This column, this row and this row will have a value of 1 each. So this intersecting point is 2, this intersecting point is 2. But also this one and this one, because, well, that's how it works. So as soon as I have 2 pixels which are not in the same row or same column, I will have 2 other pixels as well which will be colored. And that might just lead to problems, it might just not, but it could. So in theory I can only use a single pixel for each color. So yeah, here we go. Pong was kinda easy to do, I think. I don't think I had any problems, but to be fair, I have 2 other versions here, this one and this one, so I do have some experience making Pong at this point. But yeah. So like, yeah, basic structure of each game, memory slot, whatever. It has this 2 columns here, this 2 rows of combinators, and those 2, which are almost always the countdown in the beginning. Yeah, this part here is the controls, so I have, as soon as it detects like one gate, it will output all the signals it receives, which in this case would be either the 4 pixels that make up one player go 1 pixel up, or 1 pixel down. Yeah, that's it basically. Here in the middle somewhere is if you lose, what will happen. Like there's the sounds and the colors and everything. And the rest to the right here is the celebration part. Like not the celebration part, but the fireworks that come out when you... Oh.
No!
Ey, das ist aber schön, das war direkt mittig. Yeah, so here's also the coloring system. I have 6 pixels from the colorworks that do have a color, because, well, there are only 6 colors in the game. Unless I wait for the expansion where I can just put RGB numbers into the lamps, which is fucking great. Holy shit. Anyway, okay, so I have 6 colors here, 6 pixels that are colored. So I just put in the signal for this particle, and I divide it by 16 ones. which it will cut off the rest. So it will cut off every digit after the comma. And the same pixel gets this operator also with 16, which gives me exactly the rest that remains after dividing. So this operator gives me 2, which would be column 2. So yeah, row 3, column 2, it's here. So that's 50, and that's how I calculate the colors for that. So that's just snake. Here's the countdown in the beginning again. Here's controls, WASD this time because it's the bottom player. Some random numbers, I don't know if it's for apples or whatever, or maybe starting position. I have no clue what this does. All this in the back here is for winning or losing the game, though, and this part is for the rest of the snake. No, the whole snake is blue, just the head of the snake is green, and the food is yellow. But if you have a pixel here, and you send in some colors, right? So let's just check E equals 0, use colors, and then I send in blue for the snake body. Yeah, which I do on the whole screen, so that's why those in the middle are here. Yeah, I have blue too. Yeah, if this game starts, the whole screen, every column, will receive a signal of 2 with a signal blue of the value of 2. So kind of like this setup, but I have to have 2 because of those, but you know. And if I send in for the head of the snake, I do the same thing as with Pong here again, so just trying to target a single pixel. I can send in green for the head, and it will overwrite blue because green is further up in this order. Yeah, and the same thing with food, although it doesn't really matter because food doesn't spawn in the snake, so yeah, there's really no point. Alright, okay. So that's how snake works, how the colors work. Ah yeah, the body works by, I have stored every value signal in here. Don't ask me why they are all different values and how long it took me to type those all down. I don't know anymore, and I don't want to know actually. Yeah, there's that. But I use those signals, each of them, so each signal will get used to represent one part of the snake. So if you eat an apple as the snake, you will gain 1 more pixel. So I will use 1 more of those signals here to represent the snake. Yeah, let's go to T-Rex last because it's kind of complicated. And yeah, Dodge is the latest game that I implemented. But yeah, basically here's the countdown again. Here's the inputs. I need all 8 inputs this time because, well, you can go in 4 directions and it's 2 players. So yeah, that's this whole thing, except for the middle part. So that's all controls. Yeah. So here on the right, each of those rows, each of those combinator sets, I have 16 of them, represent 1 obstacle. So I have 4 on each side, which is 16 obstacles, and each of them has a different memory cell. But that means I can't have 2 obstacles following each other directly. So I can only spawn in 1 obstacle coming from this side, going left. I can only spawn 1 in if the previous one is already disappeared on this side here. Yeah, in the first 1 minute, the obstacles that spawn in are completely random. This random number generator down here decides where they come from, and also when they spawn is completely random. But they do spawn in, on average, more frequently the longer you play. So yeah, that's this, and the hard-coded obstacles that come in later are here. This is the first wave of them. But yeah, this is just the first wave. It works differently than all of the rest here. So yeah, this part belongs to, and this part, that's all memory for the pre-planned section. Yeah, and the pre-planned section works basically by So I have 16 obstacles that are possible to spawn in. And I do want them to spawn in at the same time sometimes, right? So same time doesn't work, unfortunately, because the way I've done it is each obstacle gets chosen with the same signal. So it's always n. It's just a question of what value n has. So n1, n0 is... no, n0 doesn't exist. n1 through 16. So n1 is here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, and so on. So I can't send in multiple n's at the same time because they would just add up. So that's why I did this thing where on this tick, like whatever minute, second, what this is, I will send out this signal which it receives, which is stored in the back here, which is in this case 40,818. So it gets sent out one tick, only one tick. So in the very first tick, I have 40,818 with this operator and 17. So there's some amount left which determines which obstacle I choose. In the next tick, in the next frame, it goes into this combinator, which divides it by 17. It feeds into itself, so each tick the number is divided by 17 until it disappears. And each tick, this number is going through this, and there's always a different but predetermined number as an output from here. So alright, that's it for dodge. As you can see, it uses a lot of the space that you would have been reserved for snake, but because snake is so small, I didn't really use it. So yeah, then let's go to the last game, which is T-Rex from Chrome. And the thing is here, I really wanted to have the day-night cycle. So my solution might have been not the smartest one, but my solution to the problem was like every pixel can just on command switch value from on to off. So I can just like reverse the whole image from on to off, and yeah, basically that's all I do, and it works fine. But it was kinda complicated because for that to work I had to give each pixel a different signal again, so I couldn't use the whole thing with numbers as I've done in the decoding part here. So I just reversed the decoding part and gave each pixel own signal, and they don't move around. It's not like I subtract something to it; they are fixed. So when the T-Rex jumps, it's actually different signals being sent out. So that's the first frame of the jumping. The bottom pixel gets cancelled out. The top pixel, like the one over his head, gets activated. So it appears he's moving up a little bit. Moving up still, or moving down already, I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of a pain in the ass, but what you gonna do about it? And back here is probably, as you've guessed, the memory for all the obstacles. And it's the same thing. I introduce the obstacle, I remove it from there again and introduce another one. Yeah, that's a pain. But you can just blueprint it down and should work basically fine. But there's few things you need to consider. First thing first, you have to put in the cars. So I like to give him some fuel as well, because they will blink annoying if you don't. But that's really on you. You don't drive him, so you don't really need fuel. Food, you're right. So you put them on like as outmost as possible, like on the very outer edge of this belt. So they bounce into this wall and then they're right in place where they need to be. So yeah, just give them some fuel. They won't burn it actually, so it might just be like extremely late emergency fuel storage or something. Yeah, no, probably should use another one, but you get what I mean. Alright, that's it for this fun. You just place him like this in there, give him fuel if you want, and that's it. As you've seen, I've put a requested chest with cars here. I don't know, you just need it once. So yeah, that's this thing. And for this part down here, you have to set up the colors. So you just, like, that's why the constant combinators are here on the left and right. So you just on off, next one on off, third one on off, last one on off, and that's it. It worked fine. Yeah, have fun with your friends playing with this. Look left and right when walking over the street, or right and left when you're in England, and sehr schön.
Holy crook.